yale ambayo yeye mwenyewe aliahidi, na je ameweza kuyafikia ama bado hajafikia, na kipi kile ambacho amepanga kuweza kuhakikisha basi atakachokinena kinaweza kutekelezwa. Mengi tu yameweza kushuhudiwa humu nchini, na hivyo basi tutaweza kuongea na baadhi ya wakazi hapa. Wanaambia pengine wanasubiria nini kutoka kwa ile hotuba ya rais atakayohutubia taifa kwa siku hii ya leo, na pia vile vile je, zile ahadi ambazo aliweza kuahidi ameweza kuzitekeleza kama rais. Moja kwa moja tu, hujambo ndugu Songa katikati hapa, unaitwa nani na una yapi ya kuzungumzia kuhusiana na ahadi za rais, ama unatarajia pengine rais leo huenda kazungumzia nini?
Kwa majina naitwa Walid Sketi na mimi ni mwanaharakati kutoka Mombasa. Kwanza kabisa rais aliposhika Biblia na kuapa kuwa yeye ni rais wa Kenya, jambo la kwanza alisema ni kwamba atamaliza mambo ya extrajudicial killing na enforced disappearance. Lakini imekuwa ni urongo mkubwa, kwa sababu what we've seen is that kumekuwa na abductions na enforced disappearance na extrajudicial killings hapa nchini, left, right and center. Ukiangalia Sabasaba ya juzi, it has been the darkest Sabasaba in this country, kwa sababu Wakenya zaidi ya 50 kwa siku moja waliwahi kuuliwa. Haijawahi tokea nchini Kenya kwa siku moja zaidi ya Wakenya 50 katika maandamano kuuliwa. Jambo lingine, Kenyans are not safe. Tuko na Wakenya Russia wanatumika vibaya, wanatumika katika mambo ya kijeshi. Juzi tulikuwa na Wakenya pale Uganda walikuwa abducted and they were being tortured. Tulikuwa na Tanzania, we had Agatha na Boniface Mwangi, they were tortured and being subjected to inhumane treatment. Sisi kama watetezi wa haki tunaona kwamba zile ahadi ambazo rais aliweza kuzitoa hajazitimiza. In fact ameenda kinyume na zaidi ya kinyume hata kuliko wale predecessors wake, kulingana na yale mambo ambayo ameweza kufanya. Vile vile sisi tuko katika kaunti ya Pwani. Tangu rais aingie katika mamlaka, huu ni mwaka wa 3. Hakuna any meaningful development ndani ya Mombasa County ambayo President Ruto ameweza kuleta. Kwa sababu najaribu kuangalia upande wa baharini, hakuna jambo lolote rais ameleta. Pale tuko na billions of monies zimelala in terms of wale samaki, kwa sababu Pwani resource yetu sisi ni ile bahari. Na we were expecting that a CS like Joho for example kutoka Mombasa, tungekuwa tuko na meaningful fishing, a massive fishing, ambapo vijana watatolewa kwenye haya magenge, kwa sababu ukiangalia Mombasa sasa hii tuna head towards election. It has been in the history of this county and the coast region ya kwamba criminal gangs are politically motivated. Mombasa County is the smallest county but with the largest numbers of criminal gangs. Kwa hiyo hapo rais ameweza kufeli, kwa sababu Mombasa is part of Kenya, na sisi kama wakazi wa Mombasa when we talk kwa sababu ile hali ya kiuchumi, sisi we are taxpayers in this country. We pay taxes, lakini hatupati ile natija ya ule ushuru ambao sisi tunalipa. Ukiangalia upande wa Kwale pale tuko na ile Mrima. Juzi tumeona report ya kwamba ile mountain kama ni hill, it carries minerals that are worth billions of monies. Kuna uranium pale ambayo inaweza kufanya mambo mingi. President anaweza kuleta investors hapa, na uranium inajulikana katika utengenezaji wa simu na mambo mengi sana. Kwa hiyo at this rate there is nothing that the president has done, and in fact sisi kama wanaharakati na sisi kama Gen Z hatuna imani na yeye, na sidhani kama mtu yoyote mwenye akili razini ataweza kumrudisha mamlakani tukifika 2027.
Lakini yeye anasema ametenda. Tumeweza kuona kwamba anasema miradi ya nyumba za kisasa ameweza kufanya, barabara na pia vile vile kuweza kustawisha masuala ya amani. Je, unaona kama taifa kwa sasa tunastahili kufanya nini kuweza kuhakikisha basi kama ahadi hazijatekelezwa zinaweza kutekelezwa?
Wacha nikwambie Mr. President, Wakenya hawataki nyumba, Wakenya hawataki barabara, Wakenya wanataka uchumi ambao umestawi, Wakenya wanataka ufisadi uweze kupigana nao. The problem with this country is not money. The problem with this country is corrupt leaders. We have leaking buckets in this country. Tunakusanya mamilioni na mabilioni ya ushuru, lakini hata hii housing project alisema sijui pa ward atajenga nyumba sijui 1000 ngapi. Ni nyumba mamia ndo zimeweza kujengwa ndani ya Mombasa County. Mumeweza kuona pale Buxton Point nyumba zinajengwa, watu wanafanya Airbnb. Wale wakaazi, the targeted community, hawezi kufaidika. When we come to the health sector, kila siku tunaambiwa kuwa SHA inafanya, and it is a shame, it is very sad ya kuwa tuko na viongozi wanazunguka wakisema SHA hivi SHA vile. Lakini juzi tulimwona kinara wa demokrasia Raila Amolo Odinga alipokuwa mgonjwa, hawakutumia SHA, waliweza kumchukua na kumpeleka nje kupata matibabu. Kwa hiyo sisi tunazungumza because we have facts and because things are not working. So the president is lying to Kenya, and we are hoping that today yule Yesu Kristo ambaye aliweza kusulubiwa na kubeba damu ya wanyonge itaweza kumwingia President Ruto na kusema ukweli ya kwamba this country is not working and he needs to sit down and strategize and take this country to the right direction.
Usende mbali, simama tu hapa. Ndugu Soga hapa, tuambie wewe una maoni gani kuhusiana na utawala wa miaka mitatu ya Rais William Ruto, na wewe pengine una kipi kile kuzungumzia kuhusiana na hotuba hiyo ambayo huenda kuhutubiwa siku ya leo, na yapi ambayo unatarajia?
Mimi kwa majina naitwa Rafael Ondieko Dienywakaya. Mimi ni mkazi wa Ziwa la Ng'ombe katika eneo la Nyali. Kwa sasa hivi naongea jijini Mombasa. Mimi kwa maoni yangu niko na huzuni, na nikiwa na huzuni nimeona uchumi umeanguka. Uchumi imeanguka kiasi cha kwamba watoto wa university wako nyumbani. SHA imeanguka. Hivi karibuni nasikia noti ya 5,000 inaenda kuwa printed hivi karibuni, which means the economy has fallen. Na naona kama waziri wa fedha Bwana Mbadi anazidi kudanganya wananchi, na Mheshimiwa Ruto anadanganya wananchi. Migosi Ogambas ambao kwamba ni waziri wa elimu anadanganya walimu na wanafunzi, na naona kama house levy pia inakusanya pesa na hizo pesa zinaenda mfukoni mwa watu. Jana nimeona story na nimeangalia NTV na nimeangalia K24, nimeona kama hii mambo ya Hustler Fund imekusanya almost takriban 34 billion na hiyo pesa imepotea tayari. Kwa hivyo mimi katika serikali ya Ruto naweza kusema Mheshimiwa William Samoei Daktari is a pathological liar. Ruto is a pathological liar. Akiamka asubuhi anadanganya, saa 6 anadanganya, saa 10 anadanganya, akienda kulala anaenda kulala akidanganya. Mimi serikali yake sioni ukweli, kwa sababu uchumi umeanguka na hatuna matarajio mema kwa siku zijazo. Naona mbele kuna giza, hakuna mwangaza. Asante sana.
Kabla hujaweza kuondoka, pengine nimeweza kuuliza swali moja, au pengine hali ya mfumuko wa bei za bidhaa kwa sasa. Anasema kwamba taifa limeweza kuhimili mfumuko wa bei za bidhaa, hali ya bidhaa zimeweza kushuka bei, na pia vile vile vijana wameweza kupewa kazi ughaibuni kupitia yule waziri wa masuala ya ya kigeni, mambo ya kigeni, kuweza kutafuta ajira kule. Tatizo ambalo kwa sasa linakumba wakazi kama mkazi wa chini, wewe unaona ni lipi ambalo yeye hajaweza kuzingatia?
Jambo la kwanza, Mheshimiwa President hajazingatia uchumi. Ya pili, hajazingatia usalama. Kwa sasa hivi tuko na magenge 500. Magenge, naweza timu ya magenge imefika 500. Ndio maana unaona kama hivi sasa anajaribu kupiga siasa, kwa sababu kwa miaka mitatu Mheshimiwa Ruto hajashuka chini ya gari. Mheshimiwa Ruto na hii miaka miwili ashuke chini ya gari, aingie katika ofisi, aanze kufanya kazi. Na kama hata shuka, naona kama kutoshuka kwake ndio itamshukisha kabisa 2027.
Asante sana. Basi pengine songa tu hapa nyuma kidogo tu, tuweze kupata kauli moja kutoka kwa ndugu hapa. Kiufupi tutueleze una yapi unatarajia kutoka kwa hotuba wewe?
Asante sana. Kwa majina wananiita Leni Oguna, natoka eneo bunge ya Likoni constituency, na Kenya ningependa kusema naongelea kuhusu hii East Africa yetu na relationship yetu na baina ya marais ya Uganda, Tanzania na Kenya. Manake tukiangalia vizuri kuna malumbano kati ya hizi marais watatu. Hao marais watatu sijui ni kwa sababu gani wao ni majirani lakini wanalumbana. Juzi tumesikia Museveni amesema anataka kuattack Kenya kwa sababu anataka bahari aende nayo. Na si mbaya kuenda na bahari ili hali haiwezekani. Na mimi nasema hivi kuhusu hiyo, wao kama rais wa East Africa wangekaa chini waone ni njia gani wanaweza kutengeneza hii maneno, kwa sababu hawawezi kukua wanarushiana maneno kwa media. Museveni arushe huku, Ruto arushe huku, Suluhu arushe huku. Hiyo tunaona ni kama malumbano ya marais, na sisi wa Kenya tunataka watu wawe pamoja Nikiongea kuhusu maendeleo ya Kenya na track record ya William Ruto for the last 3 years, niseme kwa venye amefanya kazi, tunasema manyumba zenye amekuwa akijenga tumeziona, tunaona manyumba zinaenda vizuri sana. Lakini sekta zingine kama hii upande ya masha na matibabu na hii uchumi wa Kenya tunaona inadorora sana, lakini tunaona kwamba tuko na rais wetu. Juzi niliona rais akisema eti tuko na shida ya leadership, ili hali yeye mwenyewe ni leader of the nation. Ninasema hivi, rais anajua shida yote ya Kenya hii, lakini anajua venye zinaweza kutatuliwa hizi shida yote. Mimi Kenya ningependa isimame na ikome kabisa, na nguvu zake akomeshe hii maneno. Akomeshe assassination towards election, ni kitu tumeona since 1963 up to now, it's still happening, na tunakataa hii maneno kama hii. Tunasema hapana, manake wenye tunaona wakikufa kila mara wanakufa kwa mikono ya watu wenye wanastahili kukuwa safe kwa mkono yao. Lakini sisi tunasema rais akae chini, na leo venye anaenda kuongea na wanabunge, waongee na wabunge, si eti aongee address the bunge, yeye aongee na wanabunge. Mimi nasema hivyo.
Muda huu haupo nasi, kuna mwenzangu ambaye yuko Kisumu, Guma, anangojea mahojiano hayo moja kwa moja. Kifupi tu tueleze, pengine wewe unatarajia yapi?
Naam, mimi kama kereketwa na vile vile raia wa Kenya, Francis Auma ndio mimi, nasema kuwa Ruto amefeli hii nchi pakubwa sana, kena kwamba ameanzisha miradi mingi ambazo zieleweki. Mambo ya SHA, wananchi wanapatiwa maneno ya SHA, lakini wabunge wenyewe wanaenda kwa private hospital. Is very expensive on taxpayers money. Pili, mambo ya security, tumeona kule Lamu wanateseka kila kukicha, watu wa Lamu, permanent roadblock, curfew Kiunga, abduction ziko, na alisema kuwa akiingia katika urais kutakuwa kuna abduction. Kwa hivyo rais wetu amefeli hii nchi kwa sababu mambo hayaendi. Elimu imesambaratika, afya imesambaratika, insecurity, illegal rendition, watu wanapelekwa nje, tunaona Wakenya wanapata shida nje, na serikali au intervene ipasavyo. Kwa hivyo Ruto bado ako na nafasi kipindi cha miaka 2 kurekebisha. Tuna hakika anaweza kurekebisha akitaka, lakini ni kama ametekwa mateka. Yeye ni mambo ya siasa kila kukicha, haifai kwa hii nchi. Mambo ya uchumi imedorora kabisa. Kwa hivyo sisi kama kereketo na wakazi wa Mombasa tunataka Ruto awe serious na uongozi na alete maendeleo, ili watu wa kama watakubaliana naye wamregeshe wakati mwingine.
Basi naona ni kauli tu za viongozi wa kaunti ya Mombasa, msiondoke tu. Akiweza kuweka wazi wanatarajia nini kutokana na ile hotuba ya rais basi atakayoiongea hii leo, na pia vile vile basi wakisema wanahisi mengi hajatekelezwa, ahadi za rais ambazo waweza kutoka kwa wananchi mengi hajayatekeleza, basi wanaweza kumtaka aweze kujizatiti na kuweza kutekeleza ahadi zile na kupunguza joto la kisiasa. Moja kwa moja kutoka kaunti ya Mombasa hadi kwa mwanahabari mwenza kutoka kaunti ya Kisumu, Guma. Pengine Guma, sijui kama unapata moja kwa moja.
Thank you. In Nairobi, here in Kisumu County, we also want to get opinions of various residents from this region. What do they say, or what are their expectations regarding the today's State of the Nation address by the President later on in the day at the Parliament buildings? And we want to just get what the residents of Kisumu have to say about President Ruto's government leadership in the past 3 years, because this is going to be the 3rd State of the Nation address. Without wasting time, let's just hear from them. I have quite a number of them here. Start with your name and kindly tell us what do you expect in the State of the Nation address, and what are some of the things you'd say this government has achieved or has not achieved in regards to your own opinion.
Okay, my names are Dick Orongo. I'm a community organizer in Kisumu. On the State of the Nation address, I would like to say that hali ya taifa ipimwi kwa msafara wa magari wala kwa zile kuweka mawe ya msingi ama ground breakings wenye tunaona all over the country, ama kwa nini kwa promises zenye tunaona zikiwekwa kila siku. When we are talking about the State of the nation is about the people, because we are saying we have a government of the people, by the people and for the people. So when we are talking about the State of the Nation, we need to look at the state, hali ya mwananchi wa kawaida iko vipi. And kwa vipimo hivi tukiangalia tunajiuliza kwamba je, mwananchi wa kawaida ama familia ya kawaida, we have 13 million households, over 13 million households in Kenya. Can they afford 3 meals a day? Wanaweza pata hata kujimudu ile chakula ya msingi tu, ile hata kama ni basic 1 meal per day. Can they afford it really? Tukirudi kwa wamama wetu wenye wanajifungua, hali yao katika hospitali, tunaona wengine wanashikwa kwa bills, hawawezi achiliwa. Tunajiuliza, can our mothers really give birth in a conducive environment without them being maybe wanakuwa harassed kutoa pesa zingine ambazo hawajui zinatoka wapi? Tukirudi kwa vijana wa kawaida, vijana wenye wako chini, can the common youth in Kenya access employment? Hii ni kipimo kingine ambacho tunafaa kuwa tunaangalia nao serikali. Tukirudi kwa watoto wetu shuleni, watoto wanaweza enda shule bila wao kufukuzwa maybe juu ya karo ya shule. Is that something that is happening in Kenya? Tukirudi kwa raia wa kawaida, je, the common Kenyan anaweza enda kuagitate kwa streets kuikosoa serikali bila reprisals ama ile kunyanyaswa, kutekwa nyara ama kuuawa? So these are the vipimo ambazo mimi naweza kutumia. These are the measures that Ahadi, punguza ahadi. Let's go back to work. Punguza ahadi. That's what I have to say.
Okay, what do you expect in this address this afternoon?
From the address I've just said, punguza ahadi. No more promises. Let us just go back to the basics. Wacha mtoto wa mama akienda hospitali azae bila kusumbuliwa. Watoto waende shuleni bila kuulizwa karo ambazo hawezi lipa. Namba 3, familia ya kawaida ipate chakula at least even 1 meal a day, please. Hizi ni vitu ambazo zinaendelea Kenya kwa sasa. Watu hata wanalala njaa. Ya 4, wacha raia ikosoe serikali bila yeye kuuawa, kutekwa nyara ama kunyanyaswa. These are the things that we need him to promise. Hizi ndio promises tunataka kusikiza. Si ahadi zingine sijui tutajenga nini. Tuachane na hizo. Asante.
Asante sana. Wewe kama Gen Z, una nini la kusema kuhusiana na utendakazi wa Rais Ruto na nini unatarajia atasema pale akiwa bungeni?
Mimi naitwa Felix Omolo, mimi ni mkaji wa Kisumu. Mimi naitwa Felix Omolo, mimi ni mkaji wa Kisumu. Nimekaa huku sana na Kenya inaweza kuongelea ni mambo ya elimu, education. Mambo ya education tangu president wetu mpya aingie, amekuwa akiongelea story na CBC yenye ukiangalia haiendani sana, haijakuwa vizuri ukipima na ile 844. Amejaribu kuimprove but bado kuna challenges mingi hapo sana. Kwa hiyo naomba improve hapo kwa education sana juu pia walimu wengi bado wamekuwa kwa ground, hawajaemployiwa hadi saa hizi. Naomba hiyo pia president aishughulikie kwa usawa pia. Alafu tena tukirudi kwa upande wa health sector, saizi unaenda hospitali, tunaambiwa SHA inafanya. Ukienda huko, mara unaambiwa uregister kitu fulani, unalipa pesa, tena unaambiwa ulipe hii, na uelewi hizi pesa zinaenda wapi. Tunataka tujue SHA inafanya na ifanye kazi yenye inaweza saidia watu. Unapata mama amezaa mtaa, anazaa na yani vitu haziendani sana na hiyo SHA yenye tunataka ikuwe improved vilivyo. Haya, mambo tena na infrastructure. Tukiongelea infrastructure, vitu na barabara, kuna mabarabara mengi hayajamalizwa huku Kenya. Ukiangalia kama hapa Kisumu, kuna barabara yetu imekuwa ikiwekwa mara mingi. Imekuwa ikiwekwa tu hapo kwanza tukisema kwa hapo mambo leo. Barabara ikitengenezwa pia inafanya ekonomia hiyo area pia ina improve. Sasa tunaona pia president wetu angalie hizo mambo za infrastructure pia endelee kujengwa kwa usawa pia.
Hello. Ukijaribu kuangalia president wakati alikuwa venye alikuwa anajaribu kusimama, hata mwenyewe wakati yenye alikuwa anahojiwa alikuwa anajaribu kuangalia mambo ya tax, kwamba kwa hii serikali ya Uhuru Kenyatta naona kama watu wanaumia juu ya tax. So alichukua hiyo kwamba hakuna mwananchi wa kawaida tofauti yoyote kwamba hata we mwenyewe mtu mwenye alipewa tax kwamba niliongezea tax na hii tax vile iliongezwa, so unapata faida. Kwa hiyo hakuna, kienda kwa afya ni shida, kienda education ni shida, linda mama hakuna, sijui ilienda wapi. So ukiangalia sasa parastatali ya serikali yote zinaenda, so tunashangaa sasa sisi tuhame Kenya ama tuendelee kuishi. Umeona? So President jaribu kuangalia Kenya unaweza saidia Kenya. Mambo ya promises tumechoka na hizo vitu. Ukienda kwa barabara unaambiwa piga mguu. Katiba yenyewe inasema muende muandamana kama kuna kitu serikali imeenda kubaya. So tunashangaa. Hii ndio ile pastor mwenye alikuwa anatuhubiria kwa kanisa kwamba sijui nini. Akijaribu kutuleta karibu. Umependuka. So tunashangaa.
Sawa, wacha tuchukue maoni ndio hapa. Tuchukue maoni yako wewe pia. Just tell us what are your expectations, and as President Ruto delivered in the past 3 years that he has been in the helm of presidency.
Thank you so much. My name is Victoria Adwet, and I have two opinions when it comes to this. There are hits and there are misses. When I say there are hits, a good example is like the strengthened shilling. If you look at our Kenyan shilling, it has been strengthened. But when we look at the misses, in the last State of the Nation address, there was that movement from NHIF to SHIF. But you find that in the medical sector, people are really complaining about SHIF not working, and this is a major concern because health is a very important sector to each and everyone in this society. So I would like the people's welfare, the common mwananchi's welfare, to be at the forefront when we are talking about the State of the Nation address, because how the common mwananchi gets to survive on a day-to-day, coming up with the commitments that impact the common mwananchi is very important. Also in the water sector where I am in, you find that there were a lot of gray areas. It was not really addressed adequately, and you find that there is still an issue when it comes to water security. Communities out here are suffering when it comes to access to clean water and sanitation, and this is also an aspect of that needs to be addressed. And what we can do as young people, number one is to help the government when it comes to coming up with a database to do checks and balances, coming up with a database to collect data on the service delivery, because one of the things making there to be a lot of misses is implementation. Yes, the plans are there, but fast-tracking the implementation is the problem from my view that needs to be handled. Thank you.
Lastly, let's have from the last person here what they have to say from the lakeside city of Kisumu.
Pardon?
Your name? What do you expect in the State of the Nation address, and going forward, what should the president do?
Okay, thank you. My name is Jimmy Magero. I'm a youth leader from this county. And I'm happy that today our servant is giving us a report on how they have used our taxes so far. And I expect that the president should be honest and very genuine on how they have implemented or where they are so far concerning some of the programs that they put in place that needs to look into our welfare. For example, we have the Nyota program that I believe that is one program that is very close to his heart. And we want to understand that how are they rolling out this program. and how are we going to make sure that this program is not going to turn out to be another scandal or a place where corrupt people are going to come and embezzle our funds and in the end affect young people. He talked about issues of affordable housing, which are also underway. We want to understand that who are the beneficiaries of this affordable housing. And I had given an example of Makasembo, affordable housing program that is ongoing there, where we had occupants who were previously paying 5,000 as less as 3,000 shillings where they were living. But then that program, once they began implementing it, those who were previously there were all removed. They are not the current occupants of those houses. So the question is, affordable housing for who? We expect the president to talk about issues of security and the measures that they put in place to make sure that every Kenyan is secure. The issue of education, we are having parents who are still collecting fees through WhatsApp groups. What is it that they are putting in place to ensure that every Kenyan is able to access quality education? The issue of health, we know issues that have come up with the SHA. We need the government to make sure that SHA is working, and any health program that is in place has to make sure that people are able to access health. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Those are just some of the opinions from Kisumu County or the lakeside city of Kisumu, where they've poked holes into President Ruto's legacy in the past 3 years or what the president has achieved so far, saying that they are not yet satisfied with the president's what president has been doing so far, poking holes in various projects that president are doing in health, education, and also affordable housing. From Kisumu County, Faustin, if you can get me back to you, if you can get me take the opportunity now.
Yes, I am at Watertown in Makueni County, just a few hours ahead of the presidential address to the nation today at Parliament. Remember, it's the third address of State of the Nation, and we're going to hear the feelings of the residents of Makueni after the president previously did address the nation and promised to bring changes to or better life to residents of Kenya. Better education, better agricultural services, better health services, and a better economy. But before he makes his address, we are going to hear what the residents here are going to say, their expectations towards the presidential speech. We start with you. Tell us your name and your feeling as a businessman in this town. Do you feel the life has changed for you?
I'm Alex Maingi, businessman in Watertown and also a resident of this town. Personally, I feel frustrated because all the time what the president has been saying has been a big lie. He has been lying left, right, and center to us as Kenyans and also to people of Wate. Previously, he talked about the issue of bringing a health cover that was better than what we used to have, the NHIF. And what we are seeing now is that it's a big embarrassment because SHA has completely collapsed. And even the Council of Governors yesterday threatened to be able to move out of the SHA issue, citing issues about inability to pay bills and also unable to be able to sustain some of the hospitals, even pulling off, like those missionary hospitals, pulling off. So this is a big embarrassment. If you go to the hospitals, what you meet on the corridors of the hospitals are trays carrying dead bodies to the morgue. Is that surely the state of the nation today? So the president should be able to address this matter on a very serious note because the death rate in this country has risen too high because of the failure of SHA, and they should not be able to deny the fact that SHA is a failed thing in this country. Secondly, on issue of education, yes, he has been able to employ some teachers, but then capitation to the schools has been a big issue. Sponsorship to the schools, fees to the students has been a big issue. Most of the students are not attending schools, universities because of this, because of lack of money or fees to go to attend those schools. And therefore, we are having a failed state in terms of educational sector. Is that what we expected from the president? Look at also the project that the president has been able to launch. 2017, So the president, when he was in deputy president, he came to Makueni. He launched water stadium. The other day he came to Makueni. He said that the stadium as Mashimo, I don't know what he meant by Mashimo. And to our understanding is that the stadium just requires some few funds to finish up. And therefore he should not be lied by local politicians who wants to betray him on what he's supposed to do. He should be able to engage in finishing the projects that he started. He came and gave other projects, yet the project which had been there for many years are still stored in this county. So what we are saying is that let the president move out of the rooftops of his car and go to the office and work. Because the president, when does he work? He's always on the rooftop of a car, abusing leaders and promising things that he cannot be able to achieve. So we are embarrassed by if that is the state of the nation, we are saying as Kenyans, we are embarrassed. Look at also the CS and the PS who are supposed to be in the office working. When do they work? They are busy on the streets. Also campaigning and clapping for the president, whatever he abuses other leaders. Is that the way, the state of the nation that we want? The answer is no. So what we are saying is that Ruto has failed terribly, and therefore he should go back to the drawing table and reconsider his agenda for this country.
Yes, thank you very much for your time. Let's see another one here. What's your name and what are your expectations ahead of the presidential state of address?
Okay, thank you. My name is Felix Mwendo. I am a resident of Wote and also a resident of Makueni County. My expectations today in the address is that the president has walked all over the country and he has met leaders of the different regions, and I hope that
All right, welcome and good morning. This is, of course, the continued coverage of the State of the Nation here at Parliament Buildings, taking stock of exactly where we are, and where we are going. Well, the President has an ambitious plan when it comes to making Kenya a first world country. What is the plan when it comes to getting to that particular place? And of course, the head of state will be addressing the bicameral house in the afternoon and giving the State of the Nation address. But before that, what exactly is the real state of the nation? That's what we want to ask on this particular panel this particular morning, trying to figure out before we get that particular address where we are as a nation. What do we expect to be the main point of focus for the head of state as he gives the 13th State of the Nation address? And of course, joining me for this particular conversation this morning, trying to make sense of the events and the state of affairs in the country, we do have Arnold Maliba, who is the party leader, PPA. I have Rachel Omolo, who is a governance expert, and of course, Dr. Mark Matuga, who is a technology evangelist. Thank you so much for making time for this conversation here on K24 and of course Kameme TV. Let me start with you, Maliba. From where you sit, what would you describe is the real state of the nation at the moment?
Well, the real state of the nation is what we've been reading over, or rather what we've been seeing in the media for most of the year, or rather most the months preceding. And what the president will come to say here will be his view or perception of what he thinks the nation he leads is. But we've seen continuously in the past the president what the government actually speaks and what the people feel are actually removed. So we want to see the state of the nation, the president's version. But all of us know what the state of the nation is. The state of the nation is that we've got runaway corruption. We have got what I would call constitutional discretion. That is the state of the nation. We have got a leadership without legitimacy. Actually, we are outside of parliament. You can remember about slightly over a year ago, at such a time as this last year. So, a parliament without legitimacy, a government that is struggling to put the economy together. By and large, of course, the president got the macros very, very well. He's been unable to take care of the microeconomics. So there's no money in the pockets of people. People with pay slips are complaining. But I do not think that we are going to expect any radical thing other than what we have seen the president speak in his tours across the country. He's been in Ukambani, we saw the same thing. We've seen him in Nyanza. He's been in Western. So the state of the nation, as probably what the president will be giving us, is something we already have had. We saw it in Bungoma, we saw it in Ukambani, we saw it in Nyanza, and wherever the president has been. So I think literally everybody knows the state of the nation.
Okay.
Kenya is a country that is educated. Access to information is literally everywhere. We just want to know if the president is at par with the people.
Okay, if the president is at par with the people. Rachel, when we look forward to the speech by the head of state, are we likely to see discrepancies when it comes to what his view of the state of the nation is vis-a-vis what the reality on the ground is, or what the people are feeling at the moment?
Thank you, first of all, Brian, for having us here so that we share our thoughts and views on the State of the Nation addressed by the President. But one thing is a fact that it's a build-up from the previous State of Address that happened last year, I think on 21st of November. So we are yet to see from where he left it a year ago. What is this new that the president is going to talk about? What are some of the priority policy lists that he has? What are some of the achievements that is going to highlight based on what he addressed last time? So for me, it's just a build-up. I'm looking forward to seeing you promise ABCD. Has that been achieved so far? Where is the nation in regards to security? Where is the nation in regards to microeconomic policies or the indicators? Where do we stand as a nation when it comes to agriculture, job creation, what you promised in your last address vis-a-vis what you're going to tell us today? So for me, I'm really looking forward in listening to the president's address and really knowing where the country is today according to his view.
According to your view, where is the country?
According to my view, yes, there are things that were promised and have been achieved. We have seen the stability of the dollar. We have seen job creation in as much as it's exportation of labor, but their job creations. We have seen agricultural sector now thriving. We have food security within the country. So for me, there are things which are misses, yes, but we also have gains within the same 1 year from what the president promised and where we are at as a nation.
Okay.
Yes.
Dr. Mark, recently when the head of state was having an interview on an international media house, I beg your pardon, he was asked, how would you rate yourself and in terms of some of the promises that you made to the Kenyan people? And he said, out of 10, I'll give myself an 8. From where we sit as a nation right now, does he have an 8?
Brian, I would give him a 9, but that's not really based on his indicators. I draw my assessment from 3 critical sources. I draw my assessment from my village. So I have a very strong feel of what happens in my village because I go there frequently. I interact with the people in my village. Then my other source is from the consumer of raw intelligence, and that is the president himself, who will be talking to us here. But the most reliable source that I pick this from is myself. So I look at myself in the middle class, in the middle domain. I look at some of the things that I think should be happening in a country. And then I look at what's happening in the village, and then I look at what the president is saying. So I probably would give him a 9. So, but this is why.
Okay.
Number one, you remember 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, we were wearing sufurias in our heads. There was famine. There was hunger problem. And that was the biggest measure of cost of living. Cost of living was purely defined by the ability to actually put food on the table. Now, that is one thing that we've forgotten, and I'm surprised Arnold is talking about, yet he's from the breadbasket of Kenya. And that is the ugali nation. You know, when there is no ugali in Luhyaland, then you can tell that there's a big problem.
Okay.
And so whenever there is no ugali in Luhyaland, in Luoland, in Suba, in my village, that to me is a serious problem. And that's been sorted, and nobody's talking about that. You know, so that is why I would give him high marks.
Okay.
Then there's the element of some sense of stability in a nation. You can see all around us, every state is dealing with issues, and nearly every state is falling. And he's been able to actually sustain and maintain a sense of security to the extent that it could actually sit here on the street and talk to viewers on the streets of Nairobi. This is not something that can happen
anywhere around us, in the countries around us.
Okay.
So let's not forget about that. Even as my friends talk about it, and as Arnold, the presidential candidate, talks about it, he should not forget. You cannot do this in Uganda. I mean, you can never do this in Tanzania, let alone the thought of it, even the thought of it in other countries like Somalia.
Is that because of insecurity on the streets?
No, that's security. That's important. That's security, internal security and external security. That's critical. I mean, and that's something we should actually, in my view, thank God for. That, Brian, we can sit here on the streets of Nairobi and talk about the state of the nation.
Dr. Mark,
then
there's a lot of people that,
The final thing that I wanted to say,
Okay.
which is now assessment from me, and that is what works for all the three of us here, is infrastructure. We need infrastructure number one, we need infrastructure number two, we need infrastructure number three. Because that's the basis upon which all the three of us can function. Even though we are complaining about the sun and all of that. But we could drive here. We have showered. You know, my friend just came from Somali. He went to his house, showered, had breakfast, and came here.
All right.
So I would give him a 9.
Okay. Sorry about the sun. This is beyond our control. But listen, Arnold, there seemed to be a little bit of Dr. Mark draws, his assessment based on the people that he interacts with at the village. According to him, the people that he interacts with at his village have a fair assessment when it comes to what the president has been able to do for the country. Yet, there are other places, because we are live across different platforms and, of course, different regions. And, the people from different regions have a different assessment from what the president might actually think that his government can actually score an 8 out of 10.
First of all, I didn't want to talk about the president grading himself, because the president lives in a parallel universe. The things he speaks about and what is on the ground, a lot of times are really, as in, it's not the same country we live in. But let's talk about very basic things. Dr. here speaks about the middle class. Number one, we have got a shrinking middle class, because we have seen, and it's reported, so many companies and firms are closing. Businesses are closing all over. It's reported simply every single day. So there's the shrinking middle class. There is the shrinking power of the payslip. They have raided the payslip continuously. In fact, the middle class has shrunk so much, and the payslip has been attacked so much, to the point that for the first time, we now have got a voting bloc that is non-ethnic. Kenya's voting blocks have largely been ethnic. Okay. All of them. I saw a report 2 weeks ago from one of the firms that works for government, and for the first time we have got 2 new tribes that the president has created courtesy of his policies, and those tribes are not ethnic for the first time. Initially, our voting philosophy has always been, our political mobilization philosophy has always been largely influenced by ethnicity. Now we have got 2 new tribes that are non-ethnic. The working class is now a voting bloc, and therefore, for purposes of identity, you can call it a tribe. The youth, for the longest time, the youth were never a voting bloc. Now they are a voting bloc of consequence, that people are looking at 2027 simply because they are youth and their challenges. Okay. So you can never speak about the president having served the middle class properly. The second thing is the national debt.
Before you continue, how would you say the youth have been left out when it comes to being served by the head of state and by the government in general, that now they start reorganizing themselves looking at 2027?
Number one, Brian, the word youth appears only 3 times in the Kenya Kwanza Manifesto. 3 times. If you were to look at the Kenya Kwanza Manifesto, the word youth appears 3 times. The only other place it shows up now is the buzzwords that are used in statements as they go around. But in their own manifesto, there was 0 focus to the youth. There was 0 focus to employment. That's why if you were to ask them what is their target when it comes to employment, we are speaking about, we have employed this number of people. But people are losing jobs. We're talking about stable and safe jobs have actually gone out. This country has completely abandoned the youth. The reason why we had Gen Zs coming to this place and storming it is simply because the youth have actually been neglected. Okay. The National Youth Council is not working. The Youth Fund has no money. The Ministry of Youth is non-existent. People don't even talk about it. The youth officers that were across all departments no longer exist. So we have become a country that sings about youth, but does nothing about, as in, so much is spoken about youth, but very little is done about the youth of this country. Because the biggest problem we have, and again using national data, NBS data that was actually released the other day, they speak that we have now 3 million people now joining unemployed, or rather they are unemployed, 3 million more. So this is government data. This is public data. Right. So when you say that the government is doing something about it, and you know, primarily the people that are chasing jobs are young people, because at the marketplace, young people do not have goods. They have no capacity for production. So what are they doing? They can only bring themselves. They can only bring in labor, whether it is skilled or unskilled. But I wanted to say this. We have not done very well on the national debt. We now have moved from borrowing 2 billion per day. We are now borrowing 3 billion per day. And we are also losing, according to the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, we are losing 3 billion daily. And as well as we borrowing 3 billion daily. The president has mismanaged not just the economy, but also governance. As he comes to speak about the state of the nation, he'll be speaking about governance. The president has raped the economy. It's a strong word to use, but it's important. He has raped our constitution. He has desecrated it. Because today you cannot tell what is the minority side and what is government.
That is the National Assembly?
National government, as it were.
Okay.
So, number one, there is a mix-up. He's done away. First of all, he bastardized parliament. By the time young people were coming to storm parliament, it's because they felt parliament as the people's representative were not speaking for them and were not representing them.
Okay.
So he messed up parliament, he has messed up the opposition, so he's messed up governance, and every other day, all the laws that we are passing, 80% of the laws we pass are in parliament are challenged in court.
Okay.
A lot of bills that have been passed and are sent into law are being challenged into court every single day.
Okay.
There is a problem with governance.
There's a problem with governance. Rachel, we seem to be living in two different countries. There's a lot that believes that everything is, the president is trying to do better. There's Maliba, and other Kenyans that believe that the president has raped the economy. Where are we?
I don't think if all is lost, like Arnold is trying to paint it. Really, we are seeing a lot of governance efforts towards, let me say, like judicial independence, the cases that he's highlighting. Some of them we've seen, there's no single day that I've seen any case against the government that has been ruled against the government and the government goes ahead and does that which the judiciary actually stopped them from doing. Because we are seeing even the efforts even for digitization of some of the services that is in line of making governance better.
Okay.
So in all, I feel in entirety, I feel that yes, not everything can be achieved within a year or two, but we need to give credit where it's due. The efforts that the government is doing when it's come to independence of the judiciary, when it's come to improving the services to the people, when it's come to uptake of digital services and such like things. We're also looking at the rule of law when it's come to governance. And he knows as much as I do, we live in a very democratic society and we have freedom of speech. And that does not mean and stop the government from doing that which is right. And they've continuously upheld the rule of law where need be. And I think that the president has talked about it over and over again, even when it comes to extrajudicial killing or the excesses by the police. So we look at governance in all the lenses. Let's just not pick an area and say, you've really failed because of this particular thing.
Okay,
but yes.
Speaking on the issue of excesses by the police, there was an order to shoot on the leg to some extent.
I think the president expounded on that and he said it's not like you shoot someone's leg, you're supposed to kill them.
Okay.
But you're not saying you're actually supposed to shoot. We are not supposed to shoot an individual.
Okay.
You're supposed to arrest them, arraign them in court.
So that statement was
But here the commander-in-chief is saying
you're supposed to arraign them
kill.
in court. And that's what I'm saying. He expounded when I think he realized that was wrong. He expounded. I actually listened to that clip yesterday. He expounded. You can listen to it again.
Even though he didn't regret. He refused to
You see
regret
now-
making that order.
By apologizing and I think expounding it because you've realized that that was a mistake. I'm not purporting to be the president here, neither am I a devil's advocate, but I'm saying ordering to shoot, first of all, it is wrong. The president should not have ordered them to shoot in any form.
Okay.
But if they're protecting themselves, like he extended and saying, if they're going ahead and burning the police stations and all that kind of stuff, then even the lives of the officers are in danger. You understand that?
Okay.
And that life should also be protected equally. So it's not just about the lives of the citizens, but also the lives of those people who are protecting the citizens. So let us look at it in the two folds. Let us just not say, oh, you know, it is the citizens being shot. What of these people who are also attacking the police officers? You know. So I want to look at it in a manner in which we don't fight the government too much, but let us give credit where it is due. Where they have failed us, we also say the government has failed in upholding ABCD.
Okay.
But when you're just giving a blanket explanation like Arnold is doing, I don't think if that is right. Because the truth is, there are some gains that has been made in terms of good governance.
Okay, there's some gains that have been made in terms of good governance.
Probably before she moves on, can she just list the gains in the governance space that we've made under William Ruto? Because what has happened is that we have lost. Number one, the gains given to us by the Constitution of Kenya 2010. We now have got the most important organ, totally without legitimacy. Parliament is the country's national delegates conference. It's the supreme organ.
Yes.
Today, when Parliament does anything, people don't even feel them. They no longer represent the people. So if you have got a dead Parliament, what gains do we have?
We all know, Arnold, that we don't have an opposition within our constitution. So it is the mandate of the parliamentarians. You cannot hold that on the president. It is the mandate of the parliamentarians to oversight the executive, and that we call out on them every other day. It does not stop you from saying this particular policy is against our constitution, or this particular policy does not align with the gains that we've made as a nation. So you cannot fault that on the president just because he has control of the parliament as he purports. Remember, we do not have, our constitution does not have what? Opposition as it is.
No,
Then one of the gains, yes.
I can only remind you that the president is the symbol of national unity. That is in the
Absolutely.
Constitution.
Yes.
He is the head of state. And this parliament here died on his watch through his action. That means one thing.
Parliament did die. There's not even a reason you're sitting outside.
It's
The
dead.
Parliament
It's
exists.
dead.
But if it is
It's
dead,
not
then why
dead.
don't you even go inside?
The factor of representation is actually dead.
It was my time.
But when
Brian,
Gen Zs came in
there's a
here,
reason.
they took away legitimacy.
All right.
There's a reason.
Dr. Mark,
There's
yes.
a reason governments exist. And there is a structure in that government. And being a young democracy or a growing democracy, we have a process of representation as enshrined in the Constitution. We have a clear process. But even with that clear process, anybody who wants to actually be in power as a government would also want, to promote their policies. And those policies can only be promoted when you actually have a majority in parliament. Now, let's be clear. Who elects parliamentarians? People like Arnold. They're the ones who actually elect parliamentarians. There's a reason we're sitting out here, even though Arnold says that Parliament is dead. It cannot be dead. If it were dead, then we would be actually be staging
The
these
argument has been
from,
that
from,
it
from
lost
inside.
legitimacy when people lost
No,
trust in it.
it's not about losing legitimacy. Just the fact that the government of the day has been able, and that is also the beauty of winning. We always sit here, we are speaking English, which is not actually our original language. Democracy is not our original set or model of governance as Africa. All this we are copying from the West. And we always talk about the United States of America, where today Congress is being controlled by Republicans. Senate is being controlled by Republicans. White House is being controlled by Republicans. Why? Because Republicans basically put forward a team that was elected. And so it is now the conservatives, it is now their policies that is being passed. You cannot say that U.S. Congress is dead just because they have a majority, Republicans have a majority. So that is why people are always given a chance, and that is the opportunity that people like Arnold have to present themselves to the people, and then the people decide that wewe mdomo yako ni mingi utaingia, ama wewe ni mtu wa pere utabaki. That is why Arnold is still out here with us. Otherwise, he would be in Parliament. You know, and I'm wishing him well that he actually makes it. So, in terms of governance,
how do you allow Daktari to throw such like a barb and challenge?
So if you look at any government exists because they want to actually control and promote policies that they have. But I want to say something about the shoot orders that the president gave. And on that one, I tend to disagree with both. You know, maybe they have a story they can tell. I have a story that I can tell. I've been attacked before in my own home with thugs who had guns. When the policemen came, I blamed them because many of them just came. They were not doing anything. They were not even shooting in the air.
Okay.
You know, so until you get to that point, so the president basically gave an order, and if you've looked at that clip, and he said, "Piga hao miguu." In fact, that is what should happen. If I were the president, that is what I would say. Shoot them on the leg to disable them, disarm them, and then take them to court. So we should not forget that. He did not say that shoot to kill. But remember that these people
you
come
see, shooting
to
on the leg
kill.
will actually lead
So we
to,
should not be
excessive
promoting
bleeding to death.
we should not be promoting criminal activities. There's a reason we, even as taxpayers, there's a reason we say policemen need to be recruited, need to be trained properly, and all of that. They are not trained to actually just come and say...
Dr. Marco, the shoot order, where exactly do you
just
draw
a
the line? Because this was basically on protesters mostly.
Let me just pose a
he
question
wasn't
that you
talking
can
about
answer together
protesters.
with us.
He was talking about criminals who come to destroy people's property and put other people's lives in danger.
Okay.
If somebody is actually has come to actually loot a shop, which is someone's livelihood,
But Mark, this
you have to figure out a way
Doc
of
is
actually...
Mark,
Doc
this
is
so
conflating.
this
Allow me.
story...
The reason why Doc is conflating is that he's
Okay,
comparing,
allow Rachel.
he's comparing oranges and apples. He was attacked by robbers in his home.
Okay.
The president was talking about demonstrators
Leave
in the
alone that.
streets.
Leave alone that.
criminals.
Mark.
Criminals who
Masai,
are
It was a time during
no.
demonstrations.
No.
That's what was happening in the
Mark
country.
Masai died over a gunshot
Yeah.
on his leg.
Yeah.
So you cannot address that it is okay to shoot what you are advocating for. If you have to shoot, then use rubber bullets. Why are you then using live bullets on people?
Okay.
And this was just, these were civilians protesting. So let us just agree that that was a slip.
I don't think the president was talking about
Well, you
civilians
don't
who are
think, but the
protesting.
president was speaking
It is
about
not.
demonstrators.
It is there. The clips are there.
At the ti-
Mtu
because what was
akikuja
happening at the
kuiba
Context.
mali ya mtu, kupora mali, kuvunja duka, kuchoma duka, that is not a protester.
It was
That is not a protester.
Actually, that's why I said
Okay.
he expounded, because
That
he
is not a
said
protester.
that was in regards to the police posts. People's Mali, like Mark is trying to say.
Okay.
But again, it is so wrong even to advocate for people to be shot, whichever part of their bodies.
All right,
Yeah.
and this is what I want us to look at, because you see, the people that will go to cause destruction
Yeah.
will term themselves as we are protesters at the end of the day. Dissatisfaction. We need to make our voices heard, and the only way that you are going to be heard is
Brother
if we
Brian,
cause that
we
particular...
are on the
What I
street
wanted
right
to the
now.
streets.
There are
What
so
I
many
wanted to
policemen
add
around
on
here
the
with guns.
gains, no. What I
Even
wanted
that
to
one
add
is a
on the
policeman
gains
with
is
a gun. Is he
security
shooting us?
stability.
Has he been told to shoot us?
They are not demonstrators.
Is
Immediately
he?
they
Has
show
he
up,
been-
they shoot them.
Has he been
No.
told to shoot us?
You know, I'm so surprised
But
that
are we not talking
Mark
about-
is actually advocating for what happened in
No,
Tanzania.
not advocating.
Exactly, that's
Not
what
ad-
the president
but
was
you
trying
know,
to say.
you've
He's saying that
not
our
been
constitution
attacked.
is robust and Kenyans are different.
You've not been attacked.
Just because I haven't said doesn't mean I've not been attacked. The point is that, Mark, you cannot protect what the president said. It was a careless statement. It should be called out for what it is, because it's a statement of impunity.
No.
Especially coming at a time when we had lost over 128
No,
people.
no. Let's separate
I think
those.
let's go back to
Let's
our
separate
discussion.
those.
All right.
And yes,
Those ones will even
As
be
we
paid.
touch
In
on that
light
one,
of
as we
the-
touch on
That
that
one-
one,
Paid by the
allow me
police
to
who
mention-
killed them. Why are we paying them
Okay,
with
are
taxpayers'
we
money?
going to pay
Allow
them?
me.
It's taxpayers'
That
money.
is
Okay.
the problem now.
enough. As we go back to the state of the nation and just looking at
It's a good state of the nation. That's why we're sitting here outside, and the policemen are passing here with guns and not shooting us.
Okay.
If
And
it
we are
was
talking
if
about
it was
the
a good
president.
state of the nation, like Daktari says, we will not have police officers with guns, with these cannon vehicles here. Because when the country is doing well, you don't need armed men.
You think so?
Yes. Which planet? Because everybody is happy.
No, which
everybody
planet?
is working well.
No, just help me.
That is
I-
why
maybe I don't understand
in
which
developed
planet.
countries,
Also, the
in developed
president does
countries,
not do
and
that,
Daktari
then
has
there's a
actually
problem.
traveled. He has traveled a lot. He has been to the West, the countries that we want to ape. You realize that police do not even move around with guns.
Okay.
It's only in places where there are problems that police move with
you know,
guns.
Arnold,
So
you-
you cannot say
you are picking
that
a lot
we
of
are
your
in a
data.
state, that we are in a very good
Arnold,
state of the nation,
Arnold,
and then he's also pointing
Arnold,
at police
Arnold,
officers with guns as
Brian,
a way
Brian,
of demonstrating.
Arnold was speaking a lot of his data, and he said it before, that he listens to the press, he sees what's going around and what's happening and what's being reported. If he's seeing what is being reported around the world, then you would know that maybe you're
We
in
cannot
a different
compare
planet.
ourselves with Uganda and Tanzania. We cannot compare with
I'm
ourselves
not talking of
with
Uganda.
other people
I'm
who definitely
talking-
do not have the Constitution 2010.
I'm talking of the democracy that you owe, that you look at. I'm talking. Look at what's happening in Charlotte, also, Chicago, California, all of those places. Tell me which police
And they are
goes
saying
to actually.
it is wrong. Even those places that you are saying,
Exactly.
the citizens they are saying
exactly.
it is
But
wrong.
you cannot say that we should live in a country that is not
So,
protected.
Arnold,
You'll be
if
the first
I
one
may
to
ask
complain.
Arnold,
Yes.
You'll be the
Brian,
first one
Just
to
a moment.
complain.
Yes, yes.
does it mean, therefore, because the police officer here is because of the security instability in the country?
Yes. One
You
of,
think so?
one of the reasons why this show is late
If there's
is
a lot of
because
insecurity
the
in the
people in
country-
parliament are not so sure about anybody hanging around
No,
parliament.
but these people
That is
are
why we
always
have not
here.
run
I
the
mean,
show.
MPs are always here. We
They
don't
are so
normally
afraid.
have this level
Ever
of
since
security,
the people
but we
of
must also
Kenya
appreciate-
came to visit the representatives of the people here last year in June,
Remember,
parliament
the three
is so
arms of
paranoid.
government are coming here. So it's just not just an ordinary day where the Wabunges are coming
popular
and sitting
government
and
Okay,
discussing.
and that is the question.
should not
If
be
at all,
afraid
if
of
at
the
all,
people.
allow me, Maliba. If at all the representatives of the people were actually representing the people and they were in good books with the people, would they need to
be visited like
to be
they were visited last year?
Exactly.
This is very subjective
Absolutely.
question.
No, it's not.
Absolutely.
The people of Kenya came to
But
visit
the
their
truth is-
representatives in
the
parliament.
truth is,
Absolutely.
They represent us. We don't see the level of security we are seeing here. It's not like they've been in recess for the longest. They've been working. They've been working. And we always see the level of security you are seeing. We are seeing this level of security because of the three arms of government meeting today here. So we cannot purport to say that we are seeing this because the MPs or our leaders are not aligned to the needs of the people, and so they're afraid of the people.
Because they
I
are
think that would
afraid
be
of
wrong.
the people.
No, that would be wrong.
The new security
That would be wrong.
protocols around
That would be wrong.
parliament are a reaction
That is
to the people
misleading,
coming
Brian.
here last
That is
year.
misleading.
Okay.
So
That is
the
misleading.
people's representative are afraid of the people.
Brian,
and we say that is a good state of the nation.
If you called Arnold to go and stage this somewhere else in the city, on the streets, he would have told you he's busy or he's taking his daughter to school or whatever. And he would not even have gathered together with us to actually stage this on the street here. That is a fact. So, law and order, peace and security, and the calm that we have in a nation demonstrates the inner state of the nation, which is actually, in my view, a good state. And that is where I'm basing my argument. Forget about the kind of kizungu mingi ya Arnold. Hiyo ni kizungu because he's gone to school. But at basic minimum, if you can actually sit on a street like we are sitting, save for the sun, and actually talk against the president like he's doing, and you see OCS police officers are there, and wamemwacha aongee tu. That is the level of democracy. That is why our level of democracy. The law does not allow them. Let me just finish my point. That is why our level of democracy demonstrates the state, a good state of the nation, and we are growing, and that is a good thing.
Can we agree on one thing, Brian? I agree with Mark that the country is fairly moving forward, but we cannot credit that to the government of the day for two reasons. That number one, Kenya is where it is not because of any deliberate action or policy intervention by government, but by the individual and collective actions by the people of Kenya on their own. We wake up in the morning to make the economy work on our own. As this government steals money, as they mess up the economy, as they steal with their friends, we work for our children and our country. That is why the country is
So the
where it is.
success of the country is based on the people.
It is us, the people. That is reason number one. We wake up in the morning, industrious, and work on our own. Even when they mess up the economy.
So can we be
indicators and
successful
everything else.
without
Number two,
leadership?
Number two,
someone guiding
Number
us,
two,
passing
this government-
policies which are right
Number two,
for the people,
The question she's asking.
Number
and
two,
creating a conducive
I'll
environment.
respond to that.
A
But
good, peaceful working environment
Number two,
under
Kenya-
Muka and under
Number
Tembea.
two, Kenya is where it is, including allowing these guys and the president to make a statement here. Because we, the people, have chosen to be peaceful. And I want you to remember one thing, that even the state having a monopoly of violence, it is the people's violence. It is we, the people, who gave them that particular violence. Tukawambia, mutushikie your violence. It is the people's violence. And every time people call back their violence, these people cannot meet here. So we as a people, if you saw last year, we as a people have decided on our own volition that at the time we want things to move. So the peace and tranquility you see here today is not largely because the government of the day is doing anything. In any case, this government is abducting people, is killing and hitting people on walls in cells. If we were to get angry and respond to this government the way it's treating the people, this government will not be there. So both on the economic side and law and order, it is the doing of the people and not the government of the day.
All right. Let's talk about the issue to do
Tell
with
Arnold
human
to
rights
try a
violations in the
country
country.
that doesn't have a government.
Excuse me?
I'm more than willing to
already
actually pay
said
for
that-
his ticket to transport him to a country that
I work
doesn't
in
have
one.
He
a
already
ticket.
said the failure of Gen Z is because they did not have a leader. So where there is no leadership, there is no direction. So you cannot purport to tell us here that Kenya is stable because Kenyans want the country to be stable. That we are calm because we want to be calm.
We, the
remember,
people,
we
have
are
chosen
just
to become.
no. Remember what happened in 2024.
When we suspend
Remember what
peace,
happened last
this
year.
government can do nothing.
It is the government
Brian,
who
I
decided
have
to meet with
offered-
the opposition.
I have offered to take Arnold to a country where there's no law and order. And he will know
not
what
seen
it
violence.
feels like
By
He's
the way,
to actually
by
have
the way,
a bad government.
even Haiti, where we've taken our police officers, Haiti has qualified to go to the World Cup. And here, with all the peace, we have not qualified.
Dr.
I
Mark, which
can
country
tell
are we
you,
talking about that
we-
doesn't have law and order?
No, I'm not going to mention countries here.
I'm just saying that even Haiti, where there's no government, they have qualified to go to the World Cup. And here, the government is praising. The two of them are praising this government. You guys
We are
cannot
not
become
calling it
praise
as
singers
it
for this
is.
government.
No.
You are too educated to do that.
No, we are not praising the government. We are calling the misses as they are
You're not praising
and
the government. You are
appreciating the
praising
gains as
for
they
the
are.
government.
Give credit
Okay,
where it's due.
let's talk about one of the biggest issues that has been, conversed in the country has to do with corruption. Corruption, even recently we saw a report released by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission just trying to list some of the institutions that are widely corrupt. And, police officers were actually top on the line on that one. And, the president has been very vocal when it comes to saying we want to deal with corruption, but yet it's still a menace in this particular country. That, to some people, when they look at it, they say, now that is the state of affairs in the country. That is the state of the nation. Corruption is
I
rampant.
accuse the media.
Okay.
I accuse the media in actually calling this thing corruption because Kenyans are even used to that word. It even sounds sexy. So let us not call it corruption.
So what do we call
Let
it?
Let us call it thievery. It is stealing, literal stealing, not just from the people, but from a country. And remember,
So do we have corruption in the
those
country?
who are, no, a lot of it.
Okay.
We have people who are actually stealing. And let us not call institutions, and that is where we lose this thing. We say,
But Dr. Mark,
we
if
say,
corruption
oh,
is
this is
rampant,
no. Let me
allow
just
me,
finish.
if
You're
corruption
saying,
is
oh, this
rampant.
institution is corrupt.
Yeah.
No. There are individuals who are in those institutions who steal, even those of us in private sector. It is a culture of stealing that I don't think anybody should tolerate.
Okay.
It is stealing. It is cruel. It is horrible. Cannot be tolerated. And please, the media, do not package this around institutions that are corrupt or government is corrupt. No, it's not government that is corrupt. It is individuals. And remember, we are individuals who are corrupt in the private sector. We are individuals who are corrupt in government, in positions of authority. These are the individuals that actually need to be talked about. And the reason we need to actually isolate this and not just call it government is because by the time you're calling government, who's government? Who are we going to actually deal with?
Okay.
Let us basically be clear and say it is stealing from our money, and that needs. Remember the former president said that in Kenya we lose 2 billion shillings every day.
Okay.
Do we lose that in the air? No. We have individuals who actually take that money. No, when we were starting, we talked about our constitution and we say, we the people. And so me, I'm taking the war away from those things you call institutions or those things you call government to individuals. I think that we need to actually use that same vigor all across, like the vigor and the energy that Arnold has.
Okay.
We use that to identify these people and call them out and actually subject them to what needs to what the law says, so that we're not just sitting there and waiting for, oh, the police is corrupt, this institution is corrupt. No, me, I'm taking a different
let's
angle
look at it
to
this
this.
way.
It is individual. The same Kenyans who vote, who will end up voting people like Arnold into parliament or in positions of leadership. We are the people who are corrupt. That is where we actually need to start.
You
should
do
start
agree,
with citizenship.
You do agree that corruption has permeated in different, sectors, and it is individuals in these sectors, and we call it the way it is. It is thievery. People are stealing from the people, and in that, at the end of the day, service delivery becomes a pipe dream for some of us. How then would we sit down and say the state of the nation is okay, if at all one of the biggest problems that is affecting the country is corruption, and we do agree?
On that one, I'm not saying the state of the nation is okay. I am not. I'm not joining anyone to say that the state of the nation is okay when corruption is this rampant. But I'm coming from private sector, and I blame private sector because remember, it is us who corrupt those who are considered to be in positions of authority to actually give us favors. So corruption is not just happening in government. It is happening all around.
When it comes to dealing with it, whose responsibility do we give that to?
It's not just government. Not just government. We all have to actually deal with it, so that if Arnold sees or anyone sees that I am corrupt, I mean, they should put out evidence out there and actually be able for me to actually go and defend myself. So it is the courts, it is the government. I mean, it's all arms of government. It is parliament that need to actually pass laws that deal decisively with somebody like me in private sector who is corrupt.
Okay, so at the end of the day...
Don't blame it on the president alone.
Okay.
But the state of the nation on corruption is bad.
He takes the responsibility
but
and
you see,
says...
but that's a problem. When he's taking responsibility and saying, ukiona mwizi, mpige...
No, he takes responsibility and says, I will deal with corruption. So at the end of the day, when Kenyans are assessing, they will take it back to him in terms of you promised to deal with corruption. You haven't done that.
This point I have to say, you remember when he was in Western Kenya, at some point, when he said, ukipata huyo mtu ambaye ni corrupt, and he was pointing to someone else, I don't want to mention the name, mambo yake ni matatu. When he said mambo ni matatu, we are all up in arms. When he said shoot thieves, we are all up in arms. So how do you want him to deal with it?
The president never said that thieves should be shot. The president said demonstrators should be shot in the leg.
That point is gone.
I think what my brother Reverend Mark failed to say is that we have institutions which are there to deal with matters corruption, which are there to deal with rule of law. We have the judiciary, we have the EACC, for example. So let us give them autonomy to do their work. Let us not interfere when they do their work. If that has been done, then now in the president's state of address, personally I expect him to tell us what is this that the efforts that the government has made in terms of corruption, in regards to corruption. Has he given them the independency that they need to deal with corrupt individuals? That is the direction that we need to take. The president, as the president, has no authority to even arrest me, Rachel, if I'm found culpable of any corruption dealings. So let us not blame him. What are you doing? But what is the government doing? The government are the institutions which have been put there to deal with matters corruption, deal with the various sectors. We have commissions and such like things. Right. So let us apportion blame where it is necessary.
Okay.
So we have those commissions, we have institutions.
Do we take the blame to the Integrity Center and say EACC now?
Yes, let us ask the EACC, led by Bishop, how many cases have you prosecuted? Let us not see scenarios where they go ahead, do their due diligence or prosecute a case and then later on fail the case themselves and say, we did not gather enough evidence. It is themselves failing or sabotaging their work. You cannot start and saying, oh, Rachel stole or Rachel did ABCD, and then later on say, okay, the evidences that we gathered are not sufficient to prosecute this case.
So, Rachel, what then happens, when it comes to dealing with this particular issue, if at all institutions that are mandated with ensuring that we fight corruption at the end of the day are
then
not doing their
let
work?
us deal with the institutions. If they cannot execute their mandates, then let disband them.
What will be
we
the
don't
best
have
way?
to have them.
Disbanding these
Yes,
institutions?
if they cannot do it, then there is no need of us paying them not to work for us. If they're not working for us, then there's no need of them being there. That is the bottom truth. There's no need of having ESCC, whereas all that they tell us, oh, we got land somewhere. We got land somewhere. And every day we are hearing of thievery of billions of shillings, taxpayers' money. But all they come and tell us that, oh, we managed to rescue a parcel of land in Homa Bay. We managed to get parcel of land along Thika Road or wherever. But the individuals which we also feel, to date, we do not know what happens with the NYS cases.
Okay.
Goldenberg cases.
Let me ask.
Yes.
In an ideal world, or what will be ideal when it comes to the war on graft, from where you sit? If
Where
you
I
look at
sit
it, you're like,
is giving the institutions their independency so that they work without any interference. Whether these are friends to who and who in the country, it doesn't matter. So that we have our institutions work for us. But if we want to interfere with their work and again take blame back to them, then we are doing zero work.
so who exactly would you say is, seems to be interfering with these institutions when it comes to their
I
autonomy?
wouldn't point out an individual. But there has been all over that they keep saying, oh no, this case cannot be prosecuted well because of what? Because of lack of evidence. Whereas we see piles and piles of papers regarding the very same case.
Okay. Maliba.
First of all,
So is either they're incompetent or something else. Yes.
First of all, on the issue of corruption, Kenya Kwanza did not promise to fight corruption. So we do not expect so much from them because it's not even in their manifesto. They did not run on the platform of fighting corruption. It wasn't there. What they've only done actually is that as much as they didn't promise, we as a people do not expect so much from them when it comes to fighting corruption. But then there's the aspect of saying that who are these people that are corrupt? You realize that Mark and my sister Rachel have decided that once it comes to corruption, because they know Kenyans are very angry, you cannot skirt around that issue. They have to try and stand with the people. They don't then become very as sharp as they were on the other issues. Look here, is this government corrupt? That question is the same as asking if the Pope is Catholic. This government...
So it's an obvious question.
It's an obvious question. And we shouldn't even be asking obvious questions. So, do we expect, the last person to know water, to discover water, is always the fish. The rest of us know water. The fish lives in water. So, that is normal to them. So, until there is no water, that is when the fish realizes, I'm dying. So, this government was brought to power by corrupt means. They actually told us they were not even going to
When you
campaign.
say corrupt means, what do you mean?
Because literally everybody in this government, their middle name is corruption. They have actually made corruption now. We no longer talk about millions and hundreds of millions. They've now made the word billion so small. If you steal, or if it's reported that so-and-so stole, and it's not in Bs, it's not in billions, it looks like it's child's play. They've made stealing millions now look like pocket change.
Okay.
Now, the buzzword for the numbers being reported are billions. They actually have turbocharged corruption, and using the Kenya Association of Manufacturers report last year, they said that we are losing, according to KM, we are losing 3 billion shillings per day. So what have they done? Initially we were losing 2 billion. Now we are losing 3.
So they've
A new government comes in and corruption doubles up by 33%. A third. That is turbocharge. Every time you put a turbo in the car, it gives you about a third more power than the engine will actually give you if it were running without a turbo. So this administration has turbocharged corruption. Like I said, I do not expect them to fight it because it's not in their manifesto. They have never promised, and they have never pretended to even want to fight corruption. So the work of fighting corruption is for the next administration. And they will have so much work because they will have to clean the thieving that is happening at the moment. Because how do you explain that everybody's business is failing except the businesses that are owned and operated by the people in government and their friends.
Okay. So during the president's address this afternoon,
yes,
when he touches on the issue of corruption, you as a Kenyan, as someone in the policy space, what do you expect him to say?
I do not expect the president to speak about fighting corruption, because he is corruption himself. So I do not expect him to say anything, because he has never promised to fight corruption. It was not the platform. Not any day. What they've only done is that they have weaponized the judicial, the criminal justice system when necessary. We know of governors who have stolen, but because they are politically aligned, no one touches them. But we know the other governors who simply are picked up just because they are opposed to the administration of the day. So we can speak about so many other things. I think this is the statement that we should not waste a lot of time on this particular topic.
Too much time.
All right.
On the topic of corruption, we shouldn't take a lot of time talking about it, because the president did not promise to fight corruption. He has not even pretended to fight corruption. So why are we even talking about it? Why should we expect anything from him?
Okay. On the subject of corruption, we all agree that you want to respond?
No, I think it would be wrong for Arnold to just tell Kenyans really that you shouldn't expect anything from the president in regards to anti-corruption efforts. That is misleading.
Okay.
We expect the president, because this is an issue that is affecting all of us as a country. So we need to know what are the efforts that the government is doing or has made towards anti-corruption dealings. Okay. What are these things that they intend to do, and what are the gains when it comes to anti-corruption?
He's looking at it and saying, okay, maybe it's not believable in terms of what you're putting in.
You see, we are Kenyans. If you tell us, I arrested Rachel, we'll know.
Okay.
I mean, so you can't say that there's nothing that the government, the president is going to tell us that you are going to believe. I mean, we are here to listen to him.
Okay,
we are here to know whether he's lying or telling us the truth.
Dr. Mark?
So we can't just say, like, no, don't talk about it, because you'll be lying.
Okay.
Why are you already judging him?
If the president speaks about corruption today, he will simply
give
he
him
will
a
only
fair
be ticking.
chance
It's
to
a
explain.
checklist.
Okay.
Explain what?
Doctor, allow me to engage Dr. Mark. Dr. Mark, as we wind up on this conversation on corruption, as he comes into this particular premises to give the State of the Nation address and, a status update on issues to do with a lot of things, but now majorly on graft. What questions is he supposed to be answering in that address?
Brian, this is national TV, K24, and because of the digital platforms, you now broadcast internationally. And we seem to be limiting corruption to just basically loss of money or stealing of money. But when you bring my friend Arnold on stage and we allow him to say lies authoritatively, that is corruption. When you bring him on stage,
our show here is not publicly funded.
But
Exchequer funded.
But then you're not supposed to mislead the public, because that to me is corruption. When you bring him here, even in the biblical settings, when you bring him here and then he calls the president corrupt.
I didn't say the president is corrupt. I said the president is corruption himself.
Yes, that's the point. That's the point I'm dealing with. When you allow him to actually come on stage and use this sort of platform to insult the president, that is why, and it's fine to insult the president. The policemen are here and everything. That is why I'm telling you that the State of the Nation is good.
Because of his freedom of speech?
Dr. Mark keeps on talking about the police as if he is trying to sublimely.
Because you can talk lies, you can insult the president on national and international TV.
Why is he sublimely threatening me that the police are around here?
And you're fine. and you're fine. So that's why I'm telling you the State of the Nation is good. I am saying that yes,
not
the
entirely
president,
good, because there are issues that you're saying are not working right.
But even at a personal level, there are things, there's work in progress. Even democracy itself is work in progress. Even fight against corruption
we are
is
saying
what
we cannot. Yeah. You see, you have put in effort to speak for this government, right? And they've not sent you. You don't speak for them. But I'm saying on this particular panel, you've actually even said good things about this government. But if I were to compare you with the government spokesperson, I would actually say that you are doing much better than the government spokesperson. So when I say the government spokesperson is not doing anything, I do not mean.
Thanks for trying.
Are you proposing the two of them for
I can see you tried to go to school.
These guys are better government spokesperson than the people who actually are in government.
We agreed,
No.
Mark and Brian, we agreed that we are going to call misses as misses and gains as gains. We know the government efforts towards digitization of the government services. That one, we don't even have to deliver that. We already know about
those
it.
Are administrative processes.
Now that Arnold has refused that I should not finish my point. All I'm saying is that let him not mislead
his point.
the country. Let him not cheat.
The truth is,
let him not insult the president.
Brian, I have not insulted the president.
This guy will
the president did not promise to fight corruption. Did the president promise to fight corruption? He did not. Is he fighting corruption? He is not. Is he even pretending to fight corruption? He is not.
What shocks me, and I'm trying to pinch myself, what shocks me, you're a great guy. You look like you can even be president. In fact, now you're the president of your house. So you don't even have to worry about that, being a president. But what shocks me is that I wonder which country you live in. And I wonder why you choose to listen to certain things that the president says and certain things that he says. The president, and I said, in your own backyard, Western
We talk about
province.
Ugali?
No. In your own backyard.
I'm glad to speak about food
That
security.
is where the president says, this person who is basically bringing us challenges here on the basis of corruption. These are the three things that he will have to do.
We
in
can
your
talk
own
about
backyard.
Mumias Sugar Company because
What
I
is
come
that?
from Mumias.
What
Let
is
me
that?
speak about that.
Isn't that but isn't that talking about against corruption?
That was not corruption.
Today the president will
that
talk
was a war
about
between cartels.
Okay.
Kwani, what do cartels do?
It was an intra-cartel fight. It was a mafia fight. It had nothing to do with corruption. It was the sugar barons, and the president himself is a sugar baron.
I realize.
That's what I'm telling you. That is crime now, not even corruption. That is crime.
I have realized Arnold's problem.
Okay, so
Brian,
where do you draw the line? Because the president will say
Arnold's problem.
This was war on graft.
Look at this. Mumias Sugar is not a public company. It's a privately owned company. Let's start there.
But boss, we cannot allow corruption in private sector.
When the president was speaking
and
about
we don't want it in.
The president spoke in the name of protecting farmers.
Are those guys going to fund your campaign?
Was it not protecting farmers then?
Which farmers was he protecting?
Are they not Kenyans?
No, he was fighting for the ownership of the assets of Mumias Sugar Company.
You know, my brother.
It was an intra-cartel fight.
All right. Okay.
The president simply picked a side of.
I want us to come back to
one of the things you'll be struggling with.
I want us to come back to
one of the things you'll be struggling in your quest for presidency is your ability to comprehend the truth and be able to present it as the truth. That is my only.
The problem is that the truth, according to Daktari here, is that everything should be looked as good, even when you see, even the Bible says that a man should eat where he works. That is Paul trying to make that argument. So the people in this administration should not be taking credit for what they have not done. That is my point.
But
allow me to.
There are no gains because
to answer your question,
the
Brian,
president has eroded.
Today the president will talk about fight against corruption. I believe him, and I will give him the support that actually he needs to fight corruption. And if he finds that Arnold is corrupt, awekwe ndani, ajibu maswala. In fact, I want to start checking pesa yake ya campaign atatoa wapi.
So at least we agree awekwe ndani lakini asipigwe risasi.
Anyway, the point is this, that Mark is a Christian, and Mark believes in miracles. And I know miracles do happen. There's even a church called Maximum Miracle Center. But hoping that William Ruto will actually fight corruption is
not will. He is fighting corruption.
He is not. He did not
you're
promise.
supposed to help him.
He did not promise. He is not doing it.
That's
He
why I'm
is not
wondering.
even pretending to do
That
it.
is why I'm wondering. You've not read the manifesto.
No.
You know, in the State of the Nation, Brian,
listen to the
probably on
president.
corruption. I listen.
Today we're going to talk about the State of the Nation.
Let me, Brian.
I predict.
Brian,
we are going to listen to the president this afternoon.
I predict that he's going to talk about issues of corruption.
Okay.
I predict.
Okay, fine.
When it comes to corruption,
so don't cheat Kenyans.
So much
you're
will be
giving
said
Arnold too
about
much
corruption,
time.
and very little will be done.
Okay. So, Rachel, let me come to you. I want us to shift our conversation from issues to do with
K24
corruption.
turned into a propaganda platform.
Mark is actually doing propaganda for the state.
Okay, enough. Rachel, I want us to look at now the reality on the ground when it comes to the issue to do with the cost of living, because there's a fraction that will paint a rosy picture when it comes to what people are feeling. And we'll talk about ugali and say, okay, the price of ugali has gone, of unga has gone down. People can actually get to afford that. Initially it was 160. Right now we're talking about 130 all the way to 150, around there, depending on which brand of ugali you're talking about. But at the same time, people do not have money in their pockets. Like Arnold has mentioned earlier, that the payslips seem to have been raided, especially for the working class. Yes, some of the products have come down as far as unga is concerned, but affordability also has become an issue. So which is which?
The reality on the ground is that Kenyans are still feeling the pinch. The cost of living has reduced, but there's no money. So that's where the issue is. So there's no money in circulation, but the government has put some efforts to reduce the cost of living. Meaning if ugali was trading at 230, I think now it is around 130, that is 100 shillings less. But because I don't have that 100 shillings and 30 shillings, I cannot still afford to put a meal on the table. That's the reality. So let us differentiate two things. Are there efforts to reduce the cost of living? Yes. Are there milestones made? Yes. Efforts are there. But the challenge is Kenyans do not have money to buy the very same good at a reduced cost.
Okay.
So the government should put more effort in opening up opportunities for Kenyans to do business. Opportunities for Kenyans to be employed because of because of unemployment rate in Kenya. So there are these other things that they have to go in tandem. You cannot isolate and say, now because the cost of living has reduced, now food is affordable to everyone. No, because these are 1,000 shillings. Today it cannot still buy the very same good it could buy 5 years ago. And money is also scarce. You've already talked about pay slips being eroded. So meaning disposable income has reduced. People cannot afford to live the way they were living before. So the reality on the ground is, yes, the cost of living has reduced significantly. That is the truth. But because Kenyans can still not afford because of lack of money, that is the reality on the ground.
Okay.
Yes. So that is what the government, and my hope is that the president is not going to address such issues. Because in as much as cost of fuel, which is a cost of production, is still high, then Kenyans will still not be able to. Because here, unga has reduced. But how much does this cost you to get a matatu from Eastlands to town, for example? Okay. You get? Has that reduced? So this one, you get the money, this one is it's leaving from this other angle.
Okay.
Brian, I'm trying to block him from giving Arnold time.
Okay,
because
I'm coming to you.
Too much time. I want to add, and this is where
money has been poured to ensure that the voice of the people is not heard on the show.
No, but just because you're closer to Brian. But this is where I agree with
Why
both
don't they
Brian.
want me to talk? And I'm the minority.
Okay.
Actually, Rachel,
allow her to finish. Allow Rachel to finish.
It is Dr. who is mansplaining. Every time you want to finish a point, he comes in.
Rachel, finish your point before I go to Dr. Mark.
He's mansplaining.
Okay.
So reality on the ground when it comes to food security, yes, we have plenty of food now. We do have, but affordability is the issue. So I want to believe that in the president's address this afternoon, those are the things that he's going to address the nation on. Okay. Like how then do you put money in Rachel's pocket? You get, so that I am able to afford these same items that you've reduced the prices.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Dr. Mark.
And you know, that is where I agree with both Rachel and Arnold, because Arnold also mentioned it earlier, that the government and the president has done well in dealing with macroeconomics. I mean, arresting the dollar fluctuation, dealing with energy prices and all of that, and also dealing with our reserves. That's crucial, and not defaulting on our debt that he didn't actually incur. So he's made good progress in the macro space of our economics. But we've also achieved, at the micro level, we've achieved food security, which is an investment that he deliberately made against a lot of our wishes when he said, no, we're dealing with fertilizer, we're going to go straight to the farmer, and that sorted out a lot of issues. That is why the Mlembe Nation, when Mlembe Nation is happy, you know that we have ugali on the table. So he's done well at that level of microeconomics. One thing that is in the manifesto
but
of our government.
Should it not cut across in terms of affordability? If you say the Mlembe Nation alone,
no.
Maybe there are other places of the country that do not
that
take
is
ugali.
the heartbeat of the nation when it comes to ugali. Once you get ugali right and you get tea right in Luyaland, Kenya is happy. I'm just giving you that as an example.
So that can be used to assess in terms of.
Of course, that is the only way you can actually measure whether the country is doing good from a micro food security point of view or otherwise. Now,
allow him.
I agree with Arnold and Rachel that we now need to move to the micro space that is putting money in people's pockets. And I know that the president has had a bit of challenges in that, but that is also plays into the job creation. You remember the president has been talking about affordable housing as basically an avenue for job creation. We just employed 10,000 police. And he also talked about exporting jobs, which actually has come, is currently being criticized in Kenya. Why are we now even criticizing opportunity that we give our children and our young people to go outside the country? In fact, we are now calling it slavery. And as Kenya, we are playing into that sort of domain again, whereby we're saying, oh, President Ruto is promoting slavery by taking our children outside to work in other places. But what else do we actually want to do when we know that our economy is the way it is? Even though it's growing, it cannot take as many. In my space, which is IT, there's a lot of opportunity that the president actually has created for digital jobs. I see it, I'm part of it very, 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 very intensely. So these opportunities now need to actually translate into putting money into people's pockets. So you'll hear the president talk about the gains he has made in the macroeconomics and the efforts he's putting in place to actually deal with the issues of micro, up to even the program of Nyota.
Dr. Mark, on issues to do with microeconomics, we rarely hear the government or even the president talk about it.
You do. You just don't understand it. When you talk about food security, that is microeconomics. When you talk about Nyota programs, that is microeconomics. When you talk about youth fund, what do we call it? That's micro. Those are efforts to actually put money in people's pockets. Those are efforts. And you'll hear the president enumerating job creation, whether it is affordable housing, whether it's in agribusiness, whether it's in the digital space, whether it is in the jobs, exporting jobs to other countries. Those are issues to actually efforts to deal with microeconomics. And I think that I would encourage, he's done well in the infrastructure, because infrastructure helps on that. When you're able to actually move goods and services from one place to the other in a more cost-effective way, that's part of microeconomics. And so I expect to see, as I close, I expect to hear from the president today some of the tangible steps that he has made in the macro and the micro space, but some of more work that needs to be done. And that is what he will be enumerating, which is why I get pissed off when somebody in the caliber of Arnold, who has the potential of being a president of this country, talking lies on national and international television.
Why are you saying there are lies?
Insulting the president. Because the truth that he's going to talk about needs to go to the country, needs to go to the people, so that people can actually use that information. But when he's calling him corrupt and all sorts of things and not able to actually talk about anything, I don't know which country he lives in.
I just needed to say this. Dr. Mark should actually live with this reality, that just because I say uncomfortable truth does not make it untruth because he doesn't like it. He has said a lot of things that I don't like, but I'm not calling them lies. Anyway, I just want to, as I start off, I need to say this. He mentioned Nyota. Unajua hii serikali hata ina Nyota, labda waende Nyota yao Mavueni. So na hata wakienda Mavueni, hii serikali hawezi kuja na Nyota kwa sababu walishika Reverend Ezekiel on lies. They lied against the man of God. Sasa hawawezi kupatia mtu Nyota. So for as much as is possible, hii serikali haiwezi patia mtu yote Nyota. Hawana Nyota wenyewe. Na hata ule mtu mwenye wangeendea wapatie Nyota walimshika na wakamwekea mashtaka ya uongo. Moving on swiftly. Cost of living. There are generally 8 acceptable indicators when you are looking at the cost of living. Number 1 is food. Number 2 is housing. Number 3 is education. Number 4 is transport, clothing, health, social protection, and communication.
All of that.
8. Now I want us to
all
move.
of that.
Now I want us to move bit by
I would
bit.
give the president
Is food cheaper?
90% on each of those.
Is food cheaper?
Except 70
No.
on one.
Is food cheaper? No, it's not cheaper because it's about
That's not
affordability. Do people have the money to buy? You made the point. I'm explaining it from the other side. Is food affordable? No, it's not. Are we food secure? No, we are still sneaking in maize from Uganda and Tanzania. So even as we speak about fertilizer and everything else, fertilizer has only served to line the pockets of the president's friends, the people who are taking up tenders. So we are not food secure. We are simply stealing the money we've set aside for food security. Is housing cheaper? No, housing is not cheaper. Even with the affordable housing they're talking about, housing is not cheaper. Number 3,
And that
education
is
cheaper?
why the president is building
No,
them.
education is not cheaper. So what cost of living are we talking about here? The cost of education has not gone down. In fact, the capitation that we used to have is being played politics around with. We are having problems. Universities have been out here, or rather students, and now even lecturers have become now entertainers. We saw the Maseno Orchestra. The lecturers giving us proper entertainment. 2 months, nothing. So transport, is transport
Remember,
cheaper?
music is a discipline.
So,
And a lot of musicians have made a lot of money.
Is transport cheaper? Unfortunately, the guys who were dancing in Maseno were supposed to be teaching. They were supposed to. They were not teaching.
So 2 months
So-
went
so-
without people getting
So
the education.
transport is not cheaper. Clothes are not cheaper. Health. Let's not even talk about Sha, Shi, Shu, and the other shashamanes that they have. Health has actually been complicated. That is still an indicator.
We have nearly 30 million
That
Kenyans
is
covered
an indicator.
under health cover.
That is an indicator.
In his government,
actually for
there were
Sha,
only 9,000.
Actually for
No, but
Sha,
he never allows us to finish.
For Sha,
But then why do you allow him to actually spit out
many are
lies?
registered in Sha, but few are covered. So don't talk about registration. It's just like signing up for a bank account. If it has no money, what purpose is it serving you? So registering with Sha in and of itself is not sufficient.
Okay.
Social protection. Our old, the vulnerable, the orphans and the others are not better under this administration. So what cost of living are we talking about? And finally, communication. Has your communication cost gone down? No. It's not down by any action or policy taken by this particular administration. And that is why I need to actually say this. This administration has sorted the macro for one reason only.
What?
To protect their loot. To ensure that whatever they steal does not lose value. That's the only reason why they have,
why would you say that?
worked around. Because when they steal, they denominate their loot in dollars. They do not want to lose out that. One of the things the president will be coming to talk about here is to ask Parliament
who is they?
to come up.
Who is they? Are these Kenyans you're talking about?
There are Kenyans and then there are the thieves that are stealing from Kenya. So the theys I'm talking, you can choose which side you want to be. The side of Kenyans who are complaining and the ones I'm speaking for, and they that are stealing. They, those, them. So, so
we need to save a Arnold from him.
this is I need to finalize this. So you see, the president will be asking Parliament to establish an infrastructure fund, another piggy bank that he wants to raid and steal from through he and his friends.
We can't really ascertain that it's
my friend, the only business that is actually thriving is actually tenderpreneurship. Look at this. If we were to ask about the president himself, we talk about the president being a very good businessman. I want you to tell me what product the president, for example, produces that gives him money. He can spend about 20 million every weekend in churches alone.
Okay.
That's about 1.9 billion shillings per year. Now, let's do this mathematics. What is this that the president actually produces that can give him as much money as that? It's simply public money.
Okay.
Otherwise, selling mandazi, samosa, and tea at Weston cannot give the president that kind of profit.
All right.
I don't think if it would be right, really, to discuss an individual.
Okay.
And his
He
mission to
is the
defend
head of
himself.
state.
But I just wanted
He
to weigh
is the
in
head of
into
state.
this list about the cost of living.
Yeah.
And now let us speak to Kenyans with the reality on the ground. You say nothing has changed in terms of food.
Can I hold the mic?
Of course, hold the mic.
Okay.
No. Put it down.
Allow her to make her point.
So why did I say that the food has reduced? Before, we were buying food at 230. I'm a realist. And
So
I'm
th-
here
that is
because
the- that
I'm
is the
not
price of
here.
flour.
That was the price of flour before. Now we are at 130 or something like that.
Depending on which
On
brand,
the-
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And even that time when it was 330, those other brands which were higher were still higher. We were buying sugar at what rate?
So you eat
What
ugali.
are
Did you eat ugali when you came here?
Of course, I don't do ugali in the morning.
But the majority
But
of the people
out
do
of
not buy
choice, no,
packets.
out of choice.
So when you talk about
Allow Rachel allow her.
I'm not here to defend the president. I'm not here to defend the government. But I want Kenyans to know the truth about some of these things.
Ugali ya kisiagi.
So that if one has an opportunity,
Arnold, put the microphone down.
when it comes to
Okay,
housing,
I put mine down. Put yours down.
Allow Rachel to finish her point.
Arnold, when it comes to housing, there's a lot of gains. We are seeing a lot of
Is
houses.
your rent lesser?
No, allow
I
her.
don't pay
Allow
rent.
her. Allow her to
Okay,
finish
and
first.
yes, now.
Okay.
So you cannot
Fortunately, I
speak
don't
for the
pay
people who pay rent.
I
Is
can
housing
speak
cheaper?
because
Okay.
I paid rent.
Have you heard
Brian,
about
call
rent going
the
down?
police.
Okay, Arnold.
That's why there are a lot of efforts when it comes to affordable housing.
Yeah.
We are seeing that. I'm not here to speak on behalf of, I'm not holding brief for the government. That is a disclaimer. I'm not holding brief. But these are things that we are seeing and the people are seeing. So when we sit here and lie to Kenyans, it is not right.
Is rent cheaper?
Because why I'm saying it's not about rent, it's
What is
affordability
it?
of the houses.
Okay.
So if today one wanted to buy a house of 3 million,
We are,
cost of
we are
construction
debunking,
cheaper.
we are debunking your lies. I'm not even going into it. Give her a chance. Give Rachel a chance to debunk your lies. The lies that you wrote in your own
She spoke
handwriting.
about ugali. No, I'm
Mwachie
matching that.
nafasi.
Amesema juu ya ugali. 70% of Kenyans consume
Yeah,
ugali ya kusiagwa. They
Yes,
don't buy a
which
packet.
is
So
even
you
cheaper.
don't use the
Which
packet.
is
At
even
any
cheaper.
you touch on
Which is
ugali,
even
you're
cheaper.
touch on
No,
the
which is
leadership.
even cheaper because I do that.
90%
It's even
of
cheaper.
people
How much
living
do you
in
go-
Nairobi
does it go
pay
for?
rent. Umesikia rent imeshuka wapi?
Okay.
It
Rachel,
depends with where you
Brian,
stay.
Rachel,
Where? Where umesikia?
Brian,
Okay,
why
okay.
don't you
Arnold,
call that
Arnold,
police
kindly.
to search Arnold?
Allow her to
What
do
the fire extinguisher.
allow Rachel to finish her
They're
point.
calling police on me.
When it comes to social protection, for example, we are seeing efforts. That's why I say let us not just fight the government for the sake of fighting.
What are the efforts that you're seeing happen in that particular front?
We have this pesa.
Yeah, was
Linda,
imeongezeka
pesa
from the 2000.
You get.
Imeongezeka? No, imeongezeka. Yes or no? Hiyo pesa haijaongezeka. You are not an old man. I have got an old man I take care of. Hiyo
Okay.
pesa haijaongezeka.
All right.
Put the microphone down.
Put your mic down so that we finish on this one as we finalize. Kindly.
So I think let us just not fight the government, but let us appreciate the little gains that we see, and then tell the government this is where you're failing us. For example, in the social protection, when you come to the payment to the elderly and all that kind of stuff, much needs to be done. More money needs to be given. But the truth is, at least they are assured of the payments monthly or whatever period it is.
All right.
If the more money that has been given, I'm not privy to that and I can't say it is now 7,000 shillings.
Haijapanda, wachana na daktari.
So one thing I want to appreciate is that consistency in payment and reliability is there, unlike before.
In social protection.
Yes.
Well, there are some people that have been complaining as far as that is concerned.
Of course, those ones you'll always have. Even you in your workplace, there are people who are complaining, right? Not everyone is happy. Even where we are seated here, Arnold has been complaining all through. That Mara the sun, Mara the water, Mara coffee. So complaints will always
Let me just go through Arnold's list.
Kindly, 1 minute. Rachel
1 minute is a lot.
has consistently said that she's not speaking for government. No one has accused you for speaking for government. You did not have to put in a disclaimer.
No, I'm
You
not
also
holding
don't
the
have
brief.
to say you are not speaking for them when you are speaking for them. It is okay.
Okay.
It's also not wrong to speak for government.
All right, Dr. Mark.
Let me use Arnold's list here. Cost of living has gone down. He has talked of ugali. That is a good standard. And of course talked about food, talked about housing. Housing, that is where the president has built thousands and thousands of houses across the country on affordable housing.
All right.
That is very important. Education. The system has been changed from the cartels of friends of Arnold to now targeting the student. The student. It is now targeting.
Which cartels
just
were
a second on something.
All right,
When it comes to housing
allow
and
him
the
to finish on that
affordability of
particular
those
point as we
houses,
give our
I
final
think
Targeting
it's good
the
to know,
student.
because I'm interested
How many
in that.
Kenyans have been
It's
given
good to
houses?
know
Just a moment.
That before, where people would get mortgages and pay a lot of money, financing their mortgages. Now with affordable housing, I'm done it, so I know. Because I inquired. So me, I'm talking of informed perspective, not like Arnold.
Okay.
That
Which one?
even you with 3 million, you can access a 2-bedroom house.
All right.
Where you want.
Okay. Dr. Mark, kindly allow Dr. Mark to finish. Arnold,
the private sector was already doing
when it comes to
it is not sufficient. It is not enough.
Okay.
You know that.
Okay.
Even with what the government is doing, they
So
still
when you
they
say
still need
So
for
we are
more
outside
housing.
Parliament. Can we have order
when you're saying
kindly?
that
I'm not the
housing-
speaker.
No,
Kindly.
they
Kindly.
still need
Allow
for more
me.
housing.
Is
Even
the
in the
cost
private
of
Okay,
construction.
Arnold and
Yes.
Rachel, allow Dr. Mark to finish because we want to
When
wind
the
up.
houses are
Okay,
affordable.
These guys
fine.
are reaching this
No,
to
just a
this
moment.
level.
A
These
moment.
were my points.
Okay.
And now they are here politicizing
No,
them.
they're trying to debunk those particular
They're not
points.
debunking.
Now,
Yeah.
when
They
it
are
comes to
spinning.
transport,
Okay.
when it comes to transport, two things affect the transport.
Is
the
rent
cost of-
cheaper?
The cost of transport.
Are cars cheaper?
The cost of transport is affected
Are
by
tickets cheaper?
Okay, just a minute. I'm out of time.
transport. In fact, let me even use his pen.
Let's use it.
The cost of the cost of transport. Transport is affected by two things: the nature of the infrastructure, and also the cost of fuel. Those ones President Ruto has maintained. He's building additional infrastructure, additional roads. to actually lower the
He's
cost of
taxing
transport.
7,000 for flights now extra.
When it comes to clothing, you've not seen
We are now going to Western.
You've not seen any Kenyan walking around.
The tickets are actually
naked.
higher.
Even
They're
Arnold
expensive.
is saying he's wearing
I
very
don't
expensive
know.
clothes.
I don't know whom he
When
lives,
it-
where
when
he
it
lives.
comes to health, the previous government only had, or NHIF only had 9 million people covered. SHA now has 30 million Kenyans covered. When it comes to social protection, every month there was aids at home. They
Not all of them
want to
though.
ask
There are some people that have complained. We cover
Not
those stories.
everyone.
Okay.
Not everyone.
All
In
right.
fact, some of them receive money, and when they receive money, when they go to receive money, you sasa wanaanza mambo ya dogo dogo.
Okay.
That is part of the problem.
All right.
This is
Now-
victim
now-
blaming.
Now communication. Communication without moving this into the digital space and creating freedom in the digital space.
Which freedoms,
will
when
not
we are
even
passing
be
the
sitting
cyber
here.
laws
Okay.
that are
Look at the
clamping down on
statistics.
that.
All right.
Look at the statistics.
Okay.
Kenya is the number
There
one
is nothing this
when it
administration
comes to
did
issues
to
communication.
make things
All right.
work.
When,
Okay.
when you started with your
Good.
Safaricom, it used to be what? 30 shillings per minute. I think now it's just a few cents per minute.
Okay.
So that has gone down. In fact,
Oh,
that's the
okay.
reason even
Okay.
the newspaper has
Let me start
dropped.
with this one. I want to take your final
Because
remarks.
you debunked it.
Okay.
A quick one, kindly.
Good.
The next time you bring people to speak for Kenyans, please bring people who actually have paid rent recently, who actually have actually paid fare.
Okay.
These guys have not paid fare. That's why I have asked. Since you actually are glorifying what this administration has done, has fare gone down?
Okay.
No.
Good.
Has the cost of fuel gone down?
Yes.
No.
We get your
No,
point.
it's actually
We
gone
get your
down
point,
recently.
Arnold.
It
The cost
has.
of living
It
aside.
has
Allow me.
Hardly.
Allow me.
It has gone
down.
Where? Which one?
Dr. Mark.
It has gone down.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
I promise.
Excuse me.
It's not.
Excuse me.
Rent has
Excuse
not
me.
gone down.
Just wait. Just wait.
The cost of ugali
Okay.
has not gone
I
down.
get your point.
These
The cost of
people do
living
not
is high.
speak for government.
Yeah,
They
the
don't
cost of
speak for
living is high.
Kenyans.
Kindly.
No.
A minute
In
each.
fact, these ones are not Kenyans.
Kindly. What's your final remarks on this one? 30 seconds.
I want to congratulate President Ruto and his government for what he has done just in the last 3 years with all the challenges. He's made some good progress for this country. And I want to actually hear more of what he has in store for this country for the next 2 years before he goes for his re-election.
All right. Rachel, 30 seconds.
Thank you. I think there are a lot of efforts being made, but mine is just to congratulate His Excellency and just urge him to do more of digitization of the services. This is the only way we are going to curb corruption in this country.
Okay.
Yeah.
20 seconds.
Heard
Yeah,
that,
20
but
seconds.
it is debatable in terms of whether digitization will actually kill corruption, but that's a
Anyway.
conversation for some other time.
Anyway,
30
so-
seconds.
I think give me a chance to rebuttal.
30 seconds.
Rebuttal who?
30 seconds. 30 seconds.
Okay, quickly, I need to say this. That the State of the Nation address by the President today will be a swan song. It will be it's the second last swan song. You know, it is said that when a swan is about to die, it sings very well and then it finally dies.
Okay.
This is the second last swan song that the President will be actually presenting because so much will be said and nothing will be done. The President, the State of the Nation here should actually be a dirge. What the President should be singing here, if he were actually to be in touch with the people, it should be a dirge.
Okay.
Because our economy is in doldrums. Literally every sector is in shutters.
Why are you giving
So
him time to start new topics now?
I do not expect anything new from the President, but he could actually probably surprise me by saying any truth.
Okay.
But then you do not expect truth.
Well, Okay, we
things that look like truth.
We are expecting the president to be addressing the state, the nation from Parliament buildings at 2:30 this afternoon, and of course continued coverage here on K24 and Kameme TV on the State of the Nation address as we wait for the head of state. We do want to take a break right now. And of course, when we come back, of course, I'll be handing you over to Fatma Chidagaya, who will be continuing with this conversation as we continue to cover the State of the Nation.
Kameme TV.
Mtumaini Bwana kwa moyo wako wote, wala usitegemee ufahamu wako mwenyewe. Katika njia zako zote mtambue, naye atazielekeza njia zako. Mithali sura ya 3 mstari wa 5 hadi wa 6.
Ili kuset Mtumaini Bwana kama skiza tune yako, dial *811 *618#.
StarTimes is taking your entertainment to the next level. This holiday, recharge, upgrade, and celebrate the festive season. Renew your subscription on your current bouquet for 1 month and get upgraded to the next high bouquet for 1 month to enjoy more entertainment and more festive joy. Unlock more channels.
Wow, that's amazing!
More cartoons.
Like I think he said the magic word.
More sports, more movies, more drama, and more reality. Recharge, upgrade, and celebrate with your loved ones. On the go, enjoy all your best shows anytime on the StarTimes On app.
Absolutely amazing!
StarTimes. Enjoy digital life.
Hey family, Wagwan, they call me Wise the Lion, and I'm gonna be live on stage alongside Luciano the Messenger. November 22nd, mark the date. ASK The Dome, Jamhuri Park, that's a place to be. Courtesy of K24 TV, bless up. This is uprising, be the youth span the scene. Tell them not to lose, open like no you see. Get your tickets early, bless up, Lion.
Yeah, this is uprising, yeah.
Hihi tokoro uhuthagira thimu yaku o kuhura gutuma SMS kana gutumira WhatsApp tu ureke tugucanure uria ungihota kwigira iheo nayo jishikie rewards urafata o ku download app ya Stahili weke survey o nini uheo data any more internet more life gutire gweterera na ndurarihio onaki nitunyitanire na endia indo mwanya matukaine na thondeki indo gutigirira o ate wagura kindu ukaheo rewards. Download Stahili app omothe wekira special code Kameme TV na hau otuguo na iheota cashback coupons. It's that simple. Zawadika pap na Stahili. Na kisha moja kwa moja mtazamaji, basi nakupeleka hapa basi hadi kwa upande wa Japana. Kati huo magaidi wakaanza kuchokoza jamaa fulani alikuwa gaidi Zunyoizi na familia yake. Wewe, kwa nini mnakaa kwa meza yetu? Kwa nini mnakuja kukaa kwa meza yetu? Sasa jamaa wetu Tiger One kuona hivyo akaumwa. Mwanzo